Hello, my name is Cyan and I like to experiment with AI art. Let's look at some more word combinations that totally changed the look of Midjourney's version 5.1. In this video I will be showing you 5 of them that I have recently discovered via the /describe feature. And I have liked the way they have made the images look. So first off we begin with film grain. Compared to the default style of Midjourney version 5.1, it reduces the amount of detail significantly. We do seem to get some grain as in popcorn and other plants that produce grain in farms and on fields. And there's some references to film as well. But the look is also kind of movie-like and it has way less detail without having to correct out maximalism. Landscapes are looking very cinematic. No obvious references too much to plants that produce grain. Wildlife is looking very realistic as well. However, macro seems to be kind of very literal. We seem to be seeing some popcorn along with objects related to filming films. Cities are more influenced with the default Midjourney style. Interiors are interesting, something that you could see in a movie, but I'm unsure of the purpose of a room with so many armchairs in it. Architecture has some movie-like aspects there and some really weird angles. I really like the portraits with this style. They are more influenced by the movie look instead of the frame-like fantasy seems to be. Sci-fi is towards its own usual self, but the images look quite cinematic. Now we're moving on to detailed patterns. This one is kind of chaotic and loaded with all kinds of stuff. And also quite many birds and flowers it would seem. I think this one would produce some fantastic stuff in combination with a -- tile. The landscapes have lost the sky from the images and they look totally like part of a wallpaper. Wildlife has that look, but it's again kind of familiar looking to me. I love the swirling patterns of the macro images. So pretty. For a change I actually like the look of the city images. They look more like a quaint town and not just a bunch of skyscrapers and what looks like houses stacked on top of each other. I especially like the color scheme of the lower right image. Interior has some great stuff there too. I especially love the ceilings in the left images. Architecture seems to be focusing on certain parts of buildings. Portraits look great, it seems they are all in grayscale. But we do see some color in the fantasy and sci-fi. And Midjourney seems to really like orange and teal color tones. I had to check if the sci-fi was not accidentally the macro, because these images look so different from what usually comes when including sci-fi to the prompt. But now let's actually look at one of Midjourney's favorite colors, at least in my opinion because this tone pops up so much. Dark cyan and black. I think the dark part is making the images look like kind of fantasy stuff. And the cyan just goes so well with it. Landscapes look nice, this could be the same planet from one of my previous videos where I had similar views but with another color combination. Wildlife has only one great image here in my opinion and it is the top right one. Others are not that impressive. Macro seems to be doing some scaly stuff there. The eye in the top right is really creepy. Cities are more in the traditional look with that one illuminated narrow street amongst very tall buildings. Interiors are nice and atmospheric. And dark. I think they need better lights in there, you couldn't read with such bad lighting. Architecture is okay, I like the lower right image. The rest are still kind of boring to me. Portraits are continuing the fantasy theme here and they look great. Fantasy tops that and we get some really weird headpieces made of wings and butterfly rings and possibly tentacles. Sci-fi is doing spacesuits like is the custom with color word prompts for Midjourney I think. But they are nice spacesuits. The fourth one we are going to look at is Tangled forms. This does some really weird interconnected stuff. I don't think I like all of them, but I do like some of them, and the promise for other combinations is fascinating. And I am not at all disappointed with the landscapes. Really weird, somewhat surreal, but still inspired by nature. Wildlife is weird too, not sure if I like them. Macro is wonderfully tangled, like a mycorrhizal network. It even improves the city images, I think. And I have just noticed that this seems to add quite a lot of beige tones to the images. The orange is there too still, but not so strongly as it normally is. The interiors look wonderful. Not very practical though, but awesome to look at. Architecture is kind of a tangled mess in my opinion. Yes, those could be parts of buildings, but I would like to see some actual buildings. The portraits are very tangled too, some more orange here. Fantasy images are okay, but I am not a fan of these images here. Sci-fi is looking interesting with this one. The natural tangle has evolved into robotic tangle. And as the last one for this video, we are going to look at high-speed film. I wanted to select this because it really changes the look of the prompts. I am not a fan of the wide black borders around many of the images, but I guess you could always try to correct them with negative prompts. But I think that this word combination adds so much motion in these images. Landscapes I am not that fond of. But I love the wildlife images. The fox running beside a train especially. And the lions running towards you at great speeds are fantastic as well. I'm not sure what's going on in macro film, I guess. But it is so cool what is going on in the city images. They look so different, what fantastic looking cities. Interiors seem to be the interiors of a high-speed train and one hallway of a museum. Architecture has some nice views. The pink house looks cool, kind of retro. The portraits seem to be staying quite still, but there's some fast-moving effect around them. I don't think it's what it's supposed to be, but really cool regardless. Fantasy has a lot of variety and the movement is being applied here. I do feel like the people or animals in the images look like they were in the process of moving a lot. So sci-fi seems to be getting the film part of this prompt more, because these spacemen or explorers don't feel like they are in a high-speed environment. And that was it for this video. Please let me know in the comments what you thought of these and if you were able to generate something awesome by including these word combinations to your prompts. And if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing to my channel for more videos like this. And do leave a like if you liked this video. I thank you for watching and let's continue prompting.